I now have my hummingbird feeders clean and ready to put away for the winter. It's October 18th, and I think all the stragglers, if there's any left, is already gone. And so I cleaned out the sink. I just used dish soap and cleaned it out, make sure there's no residue of any grease or anything. And so then you rinse it well with hot water, and then you fill about 3/4 full, because you want enough water in it where you can fill these up with the vinegar water. You want to have the water deep enough. So about 3/4, 2/3, 3/4 does it, with 1 cup of vinegar. Now you don't want to use hot water. Now you can use hot water just fine and dandy in the glass, but you don't want to use hot water for the plastic. I just used warm water for all of it. And then I took off the this part here, because underneath it really gets dirty in there. So anyhow, sometimes you will buy a hummingbird feeder with no wire. Somebody swipes it, or whatever the reason, there is no wire. So my husband come up with this wire that serves the purpose, and he just has it tied in there, and it's worked just fine like that. So anyhow, then these are the brushes, and really it would be nice to have a better type of brush, but this has sufficed until I've come up with something better. It's just a skinny brush with the little nodule there. It's kind of a cloth at the bottom, and this I got at a feed store that's supposed to be for hummingbird feeders, and you want to make sure and wet that good before you put that in the glass to clean it, because otherwise it just won't go in this small opening unless you wet that good. I think it says it even on the directions. So anyhow, then I have this shelving, and I hang them. I put this together and I hang this. Make sure to dry it well. So I'm going to be hanging this upside down, and then I'm going to be setting this on a rack and letting this air dry upside down. But next year I am hopefully going to find the feeders that looks like this, but that you can open them. You go try to open this and you're just going to have yourself a ruined feeder, because this is not the ones that's designed that will, apparently they snap together somehow or another. Maybe they have some kind of a washer in there to help to seal it. I'm not sure how it is, but I am going to be on the lookout for that, because I was told it is easier, when you can take this apart and you can clean out in there well, because it's just really hard to get back into these little areas and really clean them well. But it does help if you take them down every 3 days and clean them. That way you're kind of ahead of it to keep the mold and all from building up. So it does really help every 3 days if you kind of keep a record and change them. So another thing, I have gone to Hummingbird about hummingbirds, and some of the websites, they don't explain that you want to make sure that you have the water boiling when you add the sugar. So the way I do mine, I don't boil the sugar and the water together. The main thing is you want that water boiling, and then you want the 4 parts of boiling water, and I just use a large 2-quart measuring cup. And I take and I have the water boiling. I have the 2 cups of the sugar in there, and then I add 4 parts to 1 part. I add 4 parts water, which is 1 quart to 1 cup of sugar. And I don't add any food coloring. That is really totally unnecessary, and is of no benefit whatsoever for the hummingbirds, because the red attracts the hummingbirds, and there is no need to have the red food coloring. So I would definitely eliminate that. And also you want to make sure and keep stirring that sugar water till you completely dissolve all of the crystals. You don't want to have any crystals undissolved. But the main thing is to make sure to boil the water. Now you can boil the sugar and the water together. You can do it that way. But what has worked for me is, that you just boil the water and add the sugar. So that has worked fine for me.